Hi y'all, welcome to The Glitch. Today is Wednesday. Witticisms. No, I'm not a stand-up comedian. Would never claim to be. And I am not going to try to sit here and tell y'all jokes. I would probably suck at it. But these are just, the old things that make you go, or things that I found kind of funny. Maybe funny, weird, funny, maybe funny, haha. Just weird. So, where to begin? Let me see. I've been talking all week about tribalism and the idea of us versus them. And I just want you to think about this for a sec. Because you are the them to somebody else. Just think about it for a sec. Somebody out there thinks of you as the bad guy, the them, the other. Kind of makes me pause. Makes me want to make sure that I'm not dehumanizing other groups. Another thing I thought of is that slippery slopes are fallacies until they happen. Slippery slope is an argument. It's called a logical fallacy, which means the logic doesn't stack up the way it should. Last time I talked about logic. And so this would be the idea that if you give an inch, they'll take a mile. Okay, that's the slippery slope fallacy. You hear people say all the time, oh, it's a slippery slope. Well, it's actually a logical fallacy to say that just because one little thing happens, this huge big avalanche is going to happen. That's where the slippery slope comes from. Okay. So, sometimes they do happen. Doesn't mean that you're right making the argument to begin with, but sometimes they happen. And the way that they happen is what's called the foot in the door technique. My dad used to be a door-to-door salesman. He told me about going to sales school, and they would teach the foot in the door technique. That if you just get your foot inside the door, over the threshold, people were, so many % more likely to let you in their house and sell whatever the hell you were trying to sell to them. So, if you get your foot in the door, and then you take another step, and another step, eventually you're all the way down the slope. Does that make sense? So, let's take the idea of corporatist greed. Oh, if you remove a regulation, then they're just gonna take everything. That would be a slippery slope argument. That is a logical fallacy. However, what we have seen is that if you remove a regulation, or if there's a loophole to a regulation, then they find the next loophole to a regulation, or they lobby even for the next loophole to a regulation. And then there's the next one, and the next one. Eventually, damn it, you're all the way down the slope. So, I think it's kind of humorous that a slippery slope is considered a logical fallacy, but they happen. Another example. Oh, this one's going to get me in trouble. I like it. Back in the day, when, say, 1864 or so, when people were fighting and arguing over slavery and whether or not black people should become citizens and whether, right to vote and all that kind of stuff, then, there were people that made the slippery slope argument that, oh no, we can't give them citizenship. They can't be citizens. What? One of them might become president. What do you know? So the argument was true, but the logic was bad. Let's do one that the conservatives screamed about. Oh, if all these gay people come out of the closet, then we'll end up with men and women's restrooms. Huh. Because one foot in the door leads to another, leads to another. That's how it happens. I'm not saying any of these things are good or bad. Well, maybe corporate disagreed. That's a bad one. But the others, whatever. I'm not here to pass judgment on what has happened. I am saying that the argument of going from one little thing to this huge avalanche of crap, that is a bad logical reasoning strategy. However, if you can make a clear line between first this thing happens, and then this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and then this thing, and eventually we've gotten way over here where we didn't want to go, where we argued it was going, you have to make that logical progression. You can't just say, if we give this little thing, then this thing over here, this horrible thing will happen. You have to give the logical progression, or it's a logical fallacy. Don't fall into that trap. Echo chambers. This is something that I think fits because of the slippery slope fits because we've been talking about logic, and echo chambers fit because we've been talking about where to find your evidence, and to look for evidence and facts and prove or disprove your theories and deductive and inductive reasoning, all that lovely stuff. So, echo chambers, that's actually a psychological phenomenon. It's called cognitive bias, and people naturally look for evidence that supports their theory, their worldview, their belief of how things are. And it's really easy to fall into that. You don't want to fall into that. Because then, you're just going to have a bunch of inductive reasoning and abductive reasoning and So, you want to make sure to guard against that. You want to make sure that you're not constantly breathing your own air, okay? That's cognitive bias. That's echo chamber. You're constantly breathing your own air. Because eventually you'll suffocate. Your logical reasoning will just peter out. And you'll just be one of those people that, I just believe it because I believe it. Why on earth would anybody want to be that way? It's such a shallow way to be. So always look for different perspectives. Always challenge your thoughts. Remember what I said about what having an open mind means. It means that you're willing to change your theory. Kitty cat. You always have to be willing to change your theory. I never thought I'd be somebody that would own 23 cats. And up until this year, I wasn't. And one of our cats had 11 kittens, and the other one had 5. And now we have 23. Holy crap. Anyway. You always have to be willing to change your belief framework, your understanding of how the world works. Because otherwise you're just going to stagnate. And that's just... I don't think it's a good way to live. I think you should always challenge your beliefs. Whether or not they end up changing. Maybe you challenge your beliefs and you're like, no, that one, that's not enough evidence for me. Okay. But you need to be able to rebut it. You need to understand in your own mind why you believe what you believe. I think it's a really important part of the human experience. Anyway, back to wit. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an experience of the world. You're not allowed to have your own facts. 1 and 1 doesn't equal 3. Just so you know, it equals 2. Sometimes 1 and 1 equals 8 when your cat has 8 kittens. So you need to make sure that you're trying to find objective sources of facts and data. And you have to figure out how far down the rabbit hole you're willing to go to find that. You know, some people are willing to just look at headlines. I think we're a headline world, a headline society right now. And I think it's sad, because if you read down in a lot of the articles that people share on Facebook all the time and all this kind of crap, if you read on down in the articles, a lot of times they don't say what the headline says they say. And that's a problem. Because people just want the scoop. Want it right off the bat. We're a right now society. Gotta take a little time. What you believe is important. Why you believe it is more important. So you gotta go out, you gotta find the facts and the data and the reasoning, the logic that supports why you believe what you believe. And remember, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and most of them stink. So here's my challenge to you today. I saw I think it's a series on Netflix. I'm going to watch it. I want y'all to watch it because I have a theory about it. So we're going to do some deductiveness here. I have a theory that it was put together to target a specific person in our political scene. And it's not billed that way. But I think that was the goal. However, I also think that depending on where you fall on the political spectrum, what group you belong to, you might see it differently. So, the show is How to Become a Tyrant. It's on Netflix. I think it's just one season, maybe a limited series or something. Honestly, I don't know. No, Netflix is not a sponsor, heaven forbid. But I want you to realize who it is that you're thinking of when you watch it. And then I want you to either rewatch it or just see if you can flip your perspective so that you're thinking of it from the other side of the aisle. So I'm going to quit being vague here. If you're watching it and you're thinking, oh, that is Trump, I'll be damned, he was a tyrant, he was headed that way, I'm so glad we got him out of office. Huh. All right. But if you think that, now I want you to flip it around and see if you can see Obama or Biden or the Clintons. See if you can see it there. There's a cat climbing up my back. On the flip, if you're watching that and you're like, oh, this is Biden. Oh my goodness. Biden is becoming a tyrant. Flip the script. See if you can watch it and see how Trump might have done those things. Flip it around. See how maybe Reagan, I know, sacrilege. Maybe Reagan did those things. I don't know, I haven't watched it yet. So I'm kind of excited to watch it. And I'm going to try this challenge along with you guys and see how it goes. I'm really interested in this one. I've been putting off watching it for a while. So anyway, that's your challenge for Wednesday. And I'll see you tomorrow. I always forget to say, like and subscribe and notification bell and all that crap. You know how that works. So I will be back Thursday. Thoughts and theories. And until then, bye.